My lifestyle experiment for the month of June was to skate a marathon, i.e., 26.2 miles. So, this month's lifestyle experiment was a few months in the making. I did some research and I had a fantasy about Moxi boots. And the Moxi skate company is a really cool skate company out of California. They have a Moxi skate team started by Jen, who's a derby skater, outdoor skater, just tremendous. She's got amazing skills. She's an amazing athlete, really great positive attitude. And they're just really cool kind of skates with a cult following. They're geared towards outdoor skating. They're an old school kind of higher boot. They come in really beautiful, vibrant colors. The suede boots, they're handmade in the United States, which is really cool. So definitely sort of dream skates. I am a cheapskate, so it didn't seem like a need, so I kind of put it on the back burner. And then when I was sort of escalating kind of my fitness goals and setting some sort of milestones and sort of prizes for myself along the way, I made these skates one of my milestones.
Day 1, new skates. April 15th, 2020, roller skates. Moxi lollies in pool blue. I don't know, could you see those? So far, so good. They have heels, so I feel like I sit forward a little bit more than I did in my other skates. So try not to fall down. I'm wearing knee pads and a big sweatshirt because it turned out to be a little chilly. I forgot a mouth guard. I'm not wearing other pads. Let's hope this is not a tragic story. Here we go.
I also watched a lot of videos, and I want to give a shout out to the folks at Moxi and Estrogen who have done a really inspiring job with skate education videos. They realized, I guess, as orders were pouring in during quarantine, that a lot of people were looking for ways to sort of up their fitness and do what they could from home. So they did a really awesome job kind of explaining. And I mean, they did some of that pre-quarantine as well, but since quarantine is when I really looked into the videos and I really appreciate the things that I learned there. So I first put on my new skates on April 15th of this year. And at first, I ambitiously thought that I was going to do a 30 days of skate as one of my video ideas or experiments for the month.
It's day 4, not quite as cold as it has been. At least the sun is out. It was raining earlier. Boy, did I not feel like doing this. But it's all good once I get out. I'm trying to get some street skating in. Right now I'm on the sidewalk because of cars. It's all the news that's fit to print.
But the weather in South Central Pennsylvania wasn't quite that accommodating yet.
And it's another windy day outside and chilly. So here I am, skating on my floor again.
Spring is usually fairly rainy around here, and it's not great to skate on wet ground. And it wasn't that warm yet. It was pretty windy. And honestly, my endurance and overall fitness wasn't that great at that point. And I just wasn't enjoying it as much as I thought I could. So, but I did find, like with many things, that it's mind over matter. And even if I didn't feel like skating, if I got out there and did it, even if it was just for a brief period of time. So if I committed to, putting on my skates and skating outside for 5 or 10 minutes, generally I would stay out longer because you already went to the trouble of doing all that. And once you get out there, it's usually pretty fun, and I generally ended up glad that I had done it. Now, advice to anyone wanting to start or get back into outdoor skating, if you haven't done it in a long time, just putting in the time and persevering with it does help. I'd recommend starting somewhere nearby, somewhere flat, And even try skating indoors, maybe in your garage or your basement or my living room, as I did from time to time when the weather wasn't agreeable.
It's day 6, and I'm tormenting the dog by skating around through the house. She thinks I want her bone, and I don't, but it's good because it gives us a chance to play. And I can try to catch up with her. She doesn't trip me. And ordinarily, it makes her a little nuts when I skate in the house. But it's cold outside.
Wear appropriate pads and gear. I'm talking a helmet, knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards, a mouth guard. There is nothing like a quick fall and some broken teeth or some broken bones, as I saw when I was kind of going down the 365 days of skate or 30 days of skate videos that I was watching. There were quite a few people who got derailed due to injuries. You definitely don't have to buy the most expensive gear, but some padding I would say is a necessity. Now you'll see I'm a bad example in some of these videos. I'm not wearing all my gear, but I am strongly encouraging you to wear all your gear, and make sure especially your knee pads are going to stay in place and are not immediately going to slide down your legs when you fall. So, you know, duct tape them in place if you need to. That's something I would do from Derby, was sometimes when, you know, I have thicker legs and depending on the pants, if like the leggings I were wearing were a little slippery, use a roll of duct tape is cheaper than a lot of hospital bills. And I would recommend getting used to falling properly. Again, start out on a flatter, smoother surface if you can, and watch some videos on falling. Don't be afraid or don't be too cool to throw yourself in the grass if you need to. So try to be conscientious about where you're skating at first, that there's a soft place to fall. I think some of the videos that I watched really encourage you to get down lower. If you're nervous, get down low. Then if you do fall, at least you're not falling from as high of a distance. And I'll link to some of the videos that I watched that I found helpful as I was getting started as well.
And I just attempted to go down a hill. I didn't die, but I had every bad possible break or thought going through my head, and I felt like immobilized, like I just tried to plow stop, to slow myself down until I kind of gave up. Oh my. I don't know why I didn't do like the swerving things that I know I can do to try to, you know, slalom and slow myself. It was like I was like, ah! Also, I should really wear all my pads and a mouth guard.
So I've been skating a few times a month and off and on with my pal Theresa. And in fact, she's the one who asked me to skate the marathon with her in June, and we kind of decided we'd break it up over the month. We skated together, you know, a couple times before the month of June, and really found it.
Hey, look, there's Theresa. It's day 6.
Fun. And I would say as well, if you're looking to get into something, isn't everything funner with a buddy where you can chat and carry on together. So we started meeting in June at a park between our two homes for some socially distanced skating. Our first meetup was June 2nd. We skated for about 90 minutes, only to realize that our Fitbits tracked it as less than a mile. So if you are trying to track distance, I wouldn't rely on your Fitbit alone. I think that's just tracking it based on steps. She talked to a friend and then who recommended using a run app because that'll use GPS to track your distance that way. And we, the next week, met and went kind of the same path, and this time, same distance, roughly same path, and it was about 6.3 miles. So we made the assumption that the first skate was the same distance. Our total was about 12.6 miles. Next time we met up, we went to a Rails to Trails location and we did 5.6 miles. We met some gnomes along the way. And at that point, we were at a total of 18.2 miles. Next, we went back to the local park where we worked on our turns.
I thought you were coming at me.
I will. I was getting enough things so I could come at you. You're supposed to be skating.
Hey, I thought no. I was gonna take it for you, like
Oh.
you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what.
Go. Do it.
We're confusing the
Yeah.
And again, smoother surfaces if there is a Rails to Trails nearby. I always say that if you want to start on sidewalks, that's fine. Try to find a smoother sidewalk. Sidewalks can be a little lumpy, broken. Tree roots can make them rougher. If you do have a safe place for a parking lot that's relatively smooth, that's good. In my neighborhood, the roads are fairly rough, so sidewalks and road weren't ideal. I mean, it was ideal as far as being a little less hilly in certain areas, but the Rails to Trails and the park walking, biking trails definitely were a lot smoother. And the next time we went out, we were back to the original park that's between our two homes. We did 6.3 miles again, and for a total of 24.5. We did 6.3 miles again, total 24.5 miles at this point. And this is where the weather kind of turned against us. We were getting storms, or at least a little bit of rain almost every day. And the trouble with storms is even if it only rains a little bit, if it doesn't dry up right away, you ideally don't want to be skating on a wet surface. The water is not as much of a problem, but if it is a surface that might have oil on it, right when it starts raining, it kind of draws that oil to the surface, which makes for a slicker skating surface. Also, if there's accompanying wind, you can end up with a lot of debris. And sometimes, as you'll see, lower light makes more of a problem for that. So we rounded out the month. We squeezed in a final skate of 4.48 miles and ended up over our goal of a marathon for a total of 28.98 miles, just under 29 miles skated in the month. So my takeaways were that the prep made the difference. I'm really glad that I watched the videos and just got comfortable on the skates. Skating outside is definitely a different muscle group from inside. Super fun, but for sure different than skating on a smooth, level surface. So 5 stars, would recommend. I'm going to continue skating outside. Whether or not we ever end up derbying this year, I'm really glad that I focused on that this month, and I feel a lot more confident on my skates at the end of the time. And just like pretty much any exercise that I've tried, I seem to enjoy being outside more than inside. More things to look at, more things to engage with.
I got an Oscar in. 2 cats, 4 dogs. 1 in a stroller, 1 with a mitten.
From a safety standpoint, just make sure you're doing it somewhere public, that you have a break from cars. Other bicyclists try to, wear clothing that keeps you visible. And as summer is in full force here, make sure you're hydrating properly. Wear your sunscreen if it's daylight. I think that's all. Thanks. If you liked this, give it a like. If you think it could help someone else, share it. And if you haven't already, take a minute and subscribe. Hit the bell so you never miss new content. Let me know in the comments if you have tried any type of skating challenge or are an outside skater. I'm totally open to recommendations when it comes to skates, wheels, stops, etc. Let me know if you have any questions.